What's up, guys? James Carter TV, continuing my 2016 NFL draft recaps. And today, we are talking about the New Orleans Saints, a team that only had 5 picks in this draft. And when you go to NFL.com or maybe ESPN, the way they grade draft classes is the more picks, the better. You get more points for having more picks. I'm not going to hold that against you. I'm just looking at each pick saying, okay, you picked here. Well, how did you pick? Did you pick well? Did you not pick well? I give you a grade. So the Saints actually end up at the high GPA for me, and we're going to get into it. I like this Saints draft. You question, though, did they get enough? Because at best, you got probably 3 starters. At best, 5 contributors, obviously, but probably at best 3 starters, because I don't think the last 2 picks are going to start ever, and you hope they don't, pretty much, I believe. So let's get into it. Let's start with our first pick, defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins out of Louisville. People are calling him the baby Aaron Donald. I don't think he's that good, but I do believe, yes, he compares favorably in terms of being 6'1", about 305 pounds, 300 pounds, whatever. Guy that makes an impact as a pass rusher and was pretty productive at Louisville. You question, though, was he going up against great talent? And Louisville, they did move over to the conference. What conference did they move over to recently? I can't remember right now. I believe they were in the AAC, and they moved over to where they reside now. I can't remember right now, but they moved over to face tougher talent, and you were able to still see production there. But in terms of going up against stronger NFL guards, will he have the strength to do that? He didn't put up very impressive amount of reps on the bench press at the combine. You question his strength, but he is still a guy with a high motor, and I love hearing that. The need was there. I give it a B+. We move on to their second round pick, 47th pick overall, my favorite pick from this New Orleans Saints draft, and that is wide receiver Michael Thomas out of Ohio State, who I like more than Corey Coleman. I said this back in January. I'm not a Corey Coleman fan, but sitting here, Michael Thomas, a guy that knows how to run routes. And that alone is going to get him open for Drew Brees for the next 3 years until Drew Brees finally croaks and retires and whatnot. I think the Saints have finally found a guy to complement Brandon Cooks on the outside, or maybe even Brandon Cooks when he likes to move inside, which he does a lot. And finally, I found another big target for Drew Brees, because ever since Jimmy Graham left the door, there hasn't been a big target for Drew Brees. And I know, okay, you have that wide receiver on the outside, the big 6'4" guy that you wish would do more but doesn't. I can't remember his name right now. I apologize for that. But this is an actual legitimate weapon, a guy that can actually get 1,000 yards for you. And I really like the value here. I had him as a first rounder. He falls all the way down to the second. I love the pick. I give it an A+. I really don't see many big problems with him the only problem with him, he didn't produce as much as you would like to see, but I blame that more on the stupid Ohio State offense. I mean, they don't do much in terms of pocket passing, finding wide receivers. It's a bunch of, JT Barrett running around, finding random idiots and losers for, maybe a 10-yard gain here or there. It wasn't a great offense, and a lot of running with Ezekiel Elliott. So I don't hurt him too much for that. His speed is fine. Ran a 4.52 at his pro day. He's fine in terms of that aspect. I love the pick. I think he's a great route runner. I think he's a great pass catcher, because he actually had a drop rate of, I believe, at least under 8%, if not 7%. So he can hold on to the football. Drew Brees is going to love this guy. Great pick, A+. We move on. Second round again, because the Saints moved back up. They moved pretty high because they had a third round pick. They traded their third and their fourth to the New England Patriots to go back up to take safety Vonn Bell. Now, I really like Vonn Bell. I think he's a guy that can start at either free safety or strong safety for you, but you have to decide. Pick him to a position, let him learn that position. He's a guy that can whiff from time to time, be a little over aggressive, not a great athlete. But I think he was a value here. I question, though, where will he play and who's done? Because you have Jairus Byrd, who hasn't played much as a New Orleans Saint. I mean, he's been there for 2 years, but he hasn't been on the field. He was injured throughout 2014, injured throughout a lot of 2015, and wasn't very good. So I think he's going to replace him. Kenny Vaccaro's been disappointing since his rookie season. He hasn't been as good as he was during his rookie season, but I think he has a better seat right now, a less hot seat than Jairus Byrd. So I think that's where you're going to see Vonn Bell play at free safety. And in terms of that fit, I like it. I can't give it an A, though, because I don't think Vonn Bell is going to be a very, very good player in terms of value here. I mean, I think he is of value, but I question, is he going to play year one? Probably not. In terms of a guy that, did you need a safety now? I mean, you needed a defensive end. If anything, they traded back up. I thought they were going to take a pass rusher, and then now you're not going to have another pick to the 4th round. I didn't love that either, and because of these things, I only give it a B. We move on, although I really like Vonn Bell, the player, I just question the logic. And then we move on to the 4th round, 120th pick overall, David Onyemata out of Manitoba, which is up in Canada. Don't love the pick. This is a guy that was up in Canada, up in the college Manitoba up in Canada. You saw some production there. That can't be denied. Came to the combine, didn't impress. Went to his pro day, didn't impress. I don't love his build. I think he carries a lot of weight in places where he doesn't need to be carrying a lot of weight. Don't think he's particularly explosive. And you're taking a guy in the 4th round. There are more surefire prospects at this point. And again, why are you not taking... You just took a defensive tackle. I don't like the double dipping here. So you already have Akeem Hicks in the middle of the defensive line that can do something for you. Now you have Sheldon Rankins. I don't know why you double dip at the defensive tackle position when you have a huge need at defensive end. And I don't love the player. So I actually only give this pick a C minus because there is some potential here. I'll give them that, but I don't understand the logic. And we end with the 7th round pick, 237th pick overall, running back Daniel Lasco out of California. Love the pick. I love, and I've been saying this over and over and over again, I'll say it again, I love teams taking athletes in the 7th round. That is what the 7th round is all about. And I love it even more when we're talking about the New Orleans Saints, because this is a team that I think, you know, they love having an assortment of running backs, right? They have Mark Ingram and Kyrie Robinson and CJ Spiller and whatnot. Now, I'm not a big CJ Spiller fan, and Daniel Lasco kind of resembles him, but being a guy that is a really good athlete, 4.37 at the combine, put up some nice bench reps, at the combine as well, nice vertical, can offer something different in terms of the running back core. He's going to have to beat out CJ Spiller, though, who has a similar game as him. But if he can, I think this guy could actually stick around and make this football team. I give this pick an A minus, only because again, he does compare a little bit too much like CJ Spiller for me. So there you go. All right, so overall, when you look at these New Orleans Saints picks, again, there's only 5. And I do believe Sheldon Rankins, Michael Thomas, and Vonn Bell will start. I believe that. I believe, if not this year, Vonn Bell, next year he'll start. Okay, fine. So, in terms of getting 3 out of 5 picks on point, if you got 4, but only 3 will probably start for you, it's a good draft. In fact, so good, I put in all these grades in my report card. It spat back out a GPA of 3.40, which equals a B+, and I think that's what it deserves. It's a good draft. I think it's one of the more underrated drafts in this draft class. It's just that they didn't have many picks, so a lot of people are giving them slack for that. I just want to see, okay, you have picks, what did you take? It probably would have been up in the A- range if they would have taken a damn defensive end instead of David Onyemata. Or you keep your 3rd round pick, you take a defensive end, your 4th round, you take a safety, and then we may have even more conversation about possibly getting an A. But unfortunately, they didn't do exactly what I would have done, and that's really what I'm grading on, to be honest. That's just the way we do things here. So, B+, which is fine. Respectable. They got starters, good. They have no problem with that, I'm sure. Until next time, James Carter TV, I'm out. Peace.